Going to call to order the Monday, January 12th meeting of the Hoyoke School Committee to order at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Here.
Mr. Sheen,
Present.
Ms. LaFave,
Present.
Ms. LeBron Martinez, Ms. Tenzie Williams,
Aki.
Dr. Vera Colon,
Present.
Mr. Izaza,
Here.
Mr. Michelson,
Here.
Ms. LeBeau,
Here.
and Ms. Wilson.
Present.
Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
On March 29th, 2025, the governor signed into law bodies to H62 as amended by S2506, which contains the final form of the bill entitled An Act Relative to Extending Certain COVID-19 Measures Adopted During this State of Emergency. Of interest to all governmental public bodies in Massachusetts, the Act extended until June 2027 the authority for meetings of multiple member bodies to be held in an entirely remote or hybrid format. All public bodies may hold fully remote or hybrid meetings without the physical presence of a quorum of the public body as long as the adequate alternative means of public access is provided. Notice is hereby given that this meeting is being video and audio recorded and is being made available on being live streamed and run available on the city's community TV channel. The first thing that we have is our student showcase. Us in that, I know we have McMahon School students, but
Yeah, we have a treat tonight. We have Principal McDermott here, and we have our PE teacher Matt Lacasse to showcase things that are going on in PE and showcase our wonderful students over at McMahon.
What's up, little people?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting us here today. I think Mr. Spracklin's hiding by the door over there. But my name is Kara McDermott. I am the principal at McMahon School, and we were asked to showcase something special at McMahon, and our PE class came right to mind for Mr. Spracklin and myself. Mr. Lacasse is our PE teacher at McMahon. He does amazing things. It is the most joyful, well-structured, civic-minded classroom I think we have in the building. And he's going to share all of the different things he's doing right now with our 6 students.
Thank you.
He's from Westfield State too.
Yes, yes. I'm a proud grad at Westfield State. All right, so as mentioned, I'm Matt Lacasse, phys ed teacher at McMahon School. Right here are the stars of the show. We're going to get started by talking about some of our classroom systems and character expectations that we have to make learning fun and safe at McMahon School. So to start off with our systems, we have Jeriel talking about our conflict corner quickly.
We have a conflict corner where we learn to talk out issues with other friends.
And Hirsch Gillies, how about our calm corner?
We have a calm corner where we do 5-5 breathing and finger roller coaster when mad or upset.
Gabriel, how about our good sport code?
It's Just a Game is our good sport code we use to remind ourselves to keep games fun and safe.
And I'm going to fill in for one of our students who couldn't make it last second. We have something called partner acceptance. So when someone asks you to be a partner, we gladly say yes because no hurts feelings. So we talk about that with our students. Now, character expectations. So not only do we teach about movement and exercises and so forth, but we also talk about different type of character situations. So as an example, we have talked this year so far about respect. We've talked about self-control. We've talked about effort and a positive attitude. We've gone over teamwork, sportsmanship, and we've talked about, this week we're working on conflict resolution. Corel, can you get us started with effort, please?
We do our best and forget the rest.
Aria, how about perseverance?
We use mistakes. We use mistakes and problems as opportunities to get better, not a reason to quit.
Awesome. And Eliani, how about teamwork?
We battle together, we don't battle each other.
And we had one other student who couldn't make it last second. I'm going to fill in for him. And another example of teamwork is when your teammate makes a mistake, will you be helpful or will you be hurtful? That's the question we ask each other. And a lot of times they pick helpful. All right, so now our classes usually start with some sort of warm-up, all right? I was told I have an 8x10 area to work with, and so we're going to work in this small space and show you some of the things that we do in the gym, obviously with a bigger space, but we're going to work with our smaller space here. So this is called Cone Flip Mixer. Not only is it a warm-up, but also embedded in it is conflict resolution. So you may see a high five, you may hear a great job or a way to go. You may see rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first. We talk about benefit of doubt, which is also putting others first ahead of ourselves. And so with it, let's get started with Cone Flip Mixer. And you guys are going to kind of run around this way, okay? So go ahead, find a cone with a partner. And they're going to figure out with each other who goes first. And then they're going to start playing. So all they're trying to do is flip a cone and land it. And if one of them lands it, they're going to show sportsmanship by telling each other, good job, good game. This carpet is working out awesome for us. Very Yes, invented from the water bottle game, yes. So then one person, they would, around the gym, they'd take a run around the gym, and then they would find a new partner, but because we have a small amount of students, then they kind of join up together with each other. All right, 3, 2, 1, freeze. And let each other know, how do we show sportsmanship? We tell each other good game. And so now let's work together, get the cones picked up. And now we're going to move to our next activity. They're going to get set up. So while they're doing this, they're going to find a spot in the middle here. We work on skills throughout the year. So not only skipping, running, hopping, galloping, sliding, we also work on exercises like squats and planks and so forth. But we also learn different skills like throwing a ball, catching a ball, kicking a ball, dribbling a ball, throwing a frisbee, serving a volleyball, serving a pickleball, on and on and on. I counted last night about close to 40 different skills they learned throughout the year in their career. Reason being, when they're able to do these things, then they have the confidence to play. When they have the confidence to play, then they're more likely to play. And they're more likely to play, then we become healthier, happier, and so forth. So this is the foundation, learning these skills, and they're more likely when they get to middle school and adulthood to jump in and play activities and play games. All right? So you guys can get started. Go ahead. We have Eliani's jumping rope, and our little cues are swing, see it, jump. We have the pickleball serve, one of my favorite games as an adult right now. We have frisbee going on. We have Corel practicing his basketball dribbling skills. And we apologize if something lands in your area over there. We did sign a waiver beforehand, so we should be safe and good.
You're lucky we're not just pointing in.
All right, and 3, 2, 1, freeze. Equipment down. All right, we're doing this really quickly because I know we have a time frame. There's a lot of cool things we want to show. So now, as far as community connections, we also try to embed things that happen in the community. So as an example, where was volleyball invented? Holyoke, Massachusetts, right here. Really cool. Where did Mr. Cass spend a lot of his time during vacation? And super pumped that it opened up.
Pickleball Kingdom.
At the Hoyok Mall, and I saw the mayor there too at Pickleball Kingdom. So check it out. I didn't get a discount for saying this. I truly, really love the place. So please look into it. All right. So now let's pick up our equipment, please. We'll put it in the bag, and then the students are going to make a circle around me. All right. Make a circle. Fill in the spots, please. Okay, this is called Keep Away. Fill in the spots, guys, girls. So this is called Keep Away. So the reason why I'm showing this is students learn what I call recess games. My definition of a recess game is a game that involves a little amount of equipment and a little amount of rules. So when they go out to recess, they may not have a lot of equipment available to them. So this is one of those examples. Let's see. Cadell, can you come in the middle, please? So Cadell's in the middle. For him to get out of the middle, he's trying to touch the ball, steal the ball, take someone's spot. You ready, Cadell? 3, 2, 1, go ahead. All right, so then we can switch spots, go in the middle. And 3, 2, 1, go ahead. Good, good, yes, yes, good. And, yep, and take your spot. Good, and then Hirsch guys will come in the middle. All right, and 3, 2, 1, freeze. Again, I'm going really quick, freeze. And you want to keep playing, have fun. All right, so now, next. So, also in our classes, we talk about teamwork. I need it in my job at work. We all need it with what we do. And so we try to embed this in the activities that we're doing, teach them teamwork, how to work together, how to communicate, strategy, and so forth. So we'll start right here, okay? So in the middle, this is a make-pretend pond, and they're frogs. And they're trying to get from one side of the pond to the other without stepping in. And beforehand, I would give them time to talk about strategy. Hey, how should we go about this? What should we do? Who should go first? And so forth. So they have these lily pads, and the frogs, again, without stepping in the water, are trying to get from the start of the pond to the end of the pond. All right, guys, go ahead. The frogs have their lily pads. And again, strategy, teamwork, communication, all right, all things that are very valuable for us in life and work, in sports. And you notice the strategy they came up with is they're keeping the dots close to each other, all right? And then Aria is communicating with her friend, hey, remember to pick up the lily pad. Good. And then 3, 2, 1, freeze. You guys can grab the lily pads, bring them over here. And all right, and this is where the fun begins, right here. All right, so scooter boards, and this is going to make sounds right here. I apologize ahead of time, it's just, you can't figure that out. All right, so scooter boards, we teach our students how to safely use the scooter boards, and then we try to find fun, creative ways to get them moving with the scooter boards. This is called Bigfoot. So a lot of times when we play tag, we have humans being the taggers. But every now and then we'd like to kind of change it up, and we bring out a race car. Kids love it, and the only person who loves it more than the kids is their teacher right here. So if looking for a smile, this guy comes out. So on go, they're going to sit on the scooter board, and Bigfoot's the chaser trying to tag them. Ready, set, go ahead. And so we chase with the race car. Whoops. Flip it over. And 5 jumping jacks. And then 3, 2, 1, freeze. You can hold out that. And then, so you guys can bring that over here. And last but not least, oops, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Last but not least, this is called robots, all right? And this is another fun activity that we do with K through 5. And with robots, you guys can set up in your positions, and I'm going to jump in for, so we got you 3, actually, yep, so you 3 and then you 3 come together. All right, so with robots, I would put on usually something called Mr. Roboto, all right? I'm actually not going to do it right now, but Mr. Roboto comes on, they're not humans, they're robots. And luckily in the middle we have people who are the controllers, and the controllers are trying to make the robots not short circuit and walk or run into anything. And so when I say go, the people on the outside, they're the robots walk around the gym. What's really cool about this is sometimes their friend gets all the way down the other gym, and they're running across the gym, and they see their other friend over here kind of walking in the wall, and they got to run across the gym to get them. A lot of running happening with this activity. So 3, 2, 1, go ahead. And they turn them because the robots have to go, they can only go 1 speed. Oh. And And again, that waiver was signed, so we're good here. Great. All right, and then 3, 2, 1, freeze. And lastly, we would end class, we always end class with some sort of warm-up because we want to reinforce the learning that happened in class that day. So let's come to our little wrap-up circle. All right, and as an example, I have something called 95210. So when I say the 9, Corel, what do I mean by the 9?
Get a good night's sleep.
Get a good night's sleep, absolutely. Eliani, how about the 5?
Always eat healthy food like fruits and vegetables.
Absolutely. Harish the 2.
Limit our screen time.
And the 1 is move our bodies every day. And then Jeriel, the 0.
Limit sugar.
Limit sugar. And the saying I have is chop wood, carry water, which means things are sometimes challenging and difficult in life. You just got to keep working. You got to chop wood and carry water, right? So if math's a little bit difficult, chop wood and carry water. If we're having trouble with a skill in class, chop wood and carry water. We keep working, right? So now let's end with a cheer. Put our hands in. And McMahon Cheetahs on 3. 1, 2, 3. McMahon Cheetahs. So we thank you everyone for the invite. Thanks for allowing us to share the great things that we do at McMahon School. And you guys did an awesome job. Can we give them another round of applause? All right, and I'll turn this over to whoever's next. Sorry, thank you. Oh, thanks, I grabbed that. Thank you. All right, guys, come on up. Good job, guys. Yeah, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
Thank you all very much for coming in tonight, and thank you to all your parents who came out and other teachers. And there you go.
Rats.
Yeah.
Like that.
Wonderful.
Yes. So the next item on our agenda is that of election of a school committee chair. So we will, when you call your name, you'll state the candidate that you would like for chair.
Miss Rosalie.
Ms. Lefebvre, I want you to.
Dr. Rivera Colon.
Dr. Rivera Colon.
Mr. Izaza.
Dr. Rivera Colon.
Mr. Michelson.
Dr. Rivera Colon.
Miss LeBeau.
Dr. Rivera Colon.
Mayor Garcia.
Dr. Rivera Colon.
And Mr. Sheehan.
Dr. Rivera Colon.
And Miss Lefebvre.
Dr. Rivera Colon.
Let's see if Miss Wilson wants to vote.
Wilson, do you want to vote for chair?
Yes, I vote for Yadilet Rivera Colon. Dr. Yadilet Rivera Colon.
With a vote of 9-1, the committee's elected Dr. Rivera Colon. So come on down.
There.
Miss Wilson.
I would just like to take a moment to acknowledge, with you being elected chair of the Holyoke Public School Committee, that that we have not had an individual from the school committee. It has been previously our elected mayor, but when reviewing, we noted that it can be one of our bodies. So I want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate you for being the first president. First chair. I would like to congratulate you for being a female, Hispanic, bilingual woman having this role in Holyoke, Massachusetts. So congratulations.
Thank you so much, Miss Wilson. And it's an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to be the chair. It is also such a wonderful way to think about how is it that we are in local control. This is a decision of the body. This was something that it was part of our policy that we worked on together, that we voted on as well. And it's no longer an automatic or a given. It's something that whoever does the role needs to want to do it. And you are chief volunteer, right? For everything that's going to happen, for all the meetings and preparation on the meeting. And I also want to thank Mayor Garcia on this, because he has always been a strong supporter of the school committee and also for his leadership throughout this time as well. So thank you so much. Thank you.
When do we get committee assignments?
Ha ha ha, next meeting.
Next meeting.
I have them ready. It's not on the agenda. Thank you so much. So moving on to public comment. And hold on. So for public comment, first up we have Kira Hill. Please state your name.
Okay.
Name and address, please.
All right. So my name is Kira Hill. I live at 32 Manor House Court in Holyoke. As you know, students, staff, and families recently completed a panorama survey where they had the opportunity to share thoughts around our schools. We know data and student voice is important. As I'm sure you've noticed, when reviewing the student responses, much of what they want is what we have asked for. Shorter school days, improved health and safety, improved facilities, and even better pay. I will now read for the record students' feedback on ways to improve our schools. What the school can do better is pay teachers more of the amount they should be because they work so hard and barely spend time with their family, and better school lunch for the kids. Sometimes a few of them don't eat. Helping people when they're mad. One thing the school can improve is the time we have for recess. Make school days shorter and more field trips. More field trips make the school day shorter. To be safe in the school and let kids have what they want for lunch. To have less fights. To stop fighting in school. Make sure the school continues to keep all students safe. Please listen to students and give teachers a fair contract. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Luis Pagan.
So, based on the recent survey, the same
Sorry,
survey.
name and address, please.
Oh, Luis Pagan, 7 Cedar Street, Southlake, Massachusetts. Based on the recent survey results, the same panorama survey, our students have expressed significant concerns regarding the working conditions of their educators, having identified what they perceived as systemic inequity. The students utilize a panorama platform to advocate for the professionals who support their development. The primary purpose of such evaluations is to identify critical needs, deficits, and establish action plans for improvement. Today, I ask the committee to honor the students' feedback and address their need for instructional consistency, a goal that can be achieved through a fair contract designed to improve educators' retention. Educators' retention will give our students consistency. Our students are underserved, and they should have the same advantages of other children in the nearby towns. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Maddie Alton.
Hello, my name is Maddie Alton, and I'm a teacher at Holyoke North Campus. I live in East Hampton, but will not be disclosing my exact address out loud due to personal safety concerns, but I have it written for your record. One of my students emailed me the following. Subject. Question. For my sanity and emotional well-being. Hey, miss. Sending this a little impulsively, but I just need to ask because I'm having a really crappy night/morning. Are you planning on leaving or moving schools or anything? I don't even know. I'm just kind of a mess right now and want to tell you about it, but I also don't want to make you feel obligated or anything. Sorry, very impulsive, but I desperately need to feel like someone's staying with me right now. Name redacted. The conditions without a fair contract are driving teachers away. This year alone, some of my students have had 6 different teachers in their core subjects due to teachers leaving the district, and we have not made it to midterms. Listen to your teachers and protect our students by agreeing with the Holyoke Teachers Association on a fair contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Oshanta Esther.
Hi, my name is Ashante Esther, 34 St. James Ave in Holyoke, Mass. I'm going to read some testimonies that were emailed to you from some staff. Every single day, I personally come into work wondering what type of job I will be doing. I personally deal with students that kick and elope the classroom, along with parents who have no understanding of what their children do during the school day and blame staff for their children's behavior. I used to work in a classroom where students who bite, scratch, punch, and spit. It's unsafe and unhygienic to be working in such environments. I know a fair contract cannot and will not change this. However, you guys can make work safe, giving us fair wage and help manage any type of leave we may need due to high needs of all the students that are enrolled in HPS. Redacted. I have seen firsthand the toll on students with the constant stream of teacher loss. It is not in their best interest to lose instructional time when positions must be filled after teachers leave. It is not in their best interest when they internalize the loss of teachers as the fault of their own. It is not in their best interest to have a lack of consistency, routine, and stability in the school, scrambling to fill empty positions. It is not in their best interest to have services not being met for language or special education because there's not enough qualified staff. It's time to stop dragging your feet and propose a contract in good faith. These testimonies offer only a brief glimpse into the daily reality of working conditions teachers endure. I personally work with students who are often labeled as the most challenging, yet our ability to support their growth is consistently undermined by chronic staffing shortage. It is heartbreaking to see the classroom left without teachers during a student's most critical developmental years, a dilemma fueled entirely by our inability to retain staff. The reason for this exodus remains unchanged. The hours are grueling, the academic year is taxing, and our compensation no longer competes with surrounding districts. To regain our competitive edge, we must secure a fair contract. Many of us remain here because of our deep commitment to this district and our students. We should not be forced to leave the community we call home simply because our contract fails to reflect the value of our work. Our team has worked tirelessly to meet you in the middle. I urge you to show us that we are value educators by returning with a fair and equitable contract.
Thank you. Next up, Alex Cespedes. Name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Alex Cespedes. I use they, them pronouns. 13 Vale Avenue in Holyoke, and I'll be continuing to read some testimonies that each of the school committee members have already received in their mailboxes. As a former Holyoke educator, I can unequivocally say that without a new and fair contract, you will continue to lose great educators every year. I watch myself and many others burn out hard and fast due to the lack of time and resources to meet the demands and needs of the population while managing all the additional responsibilities that were added daily to teachers' plates. Combined with wages that were not competitive with nearby districts, I was forced to make a tough decision to leave HPS after only 2 years due to a massive toll it was taking on myself and my family when I was putting in 55 plus hours per week and commuting nearly an hour and a half each way daily. Name redacted. After nearly a year of bargaining, the January 8th session ended with 0 tentative agreements. Without meaningful change, Holyoke will continue to lose dedicated staff each year. Leaving is not always a choice. It is often a necessity to make ends meet. This instability harms students as trusted educators leave and positions are repeatedly filled by newer teachers who were once experienced are now forced to move on. The cycle continues. You have the power to change this. Settle a contract that respects educators' experience in education, provides standard sick and personal days, modern and humane family leave that aligns with Holyoke with neighboring districts on the school day and year. This is a moment to lead. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Pitt Duffy. Name and address, please.
Hi, my name's Pete Duffy. I live at 446 Appleton Street here in Holyoke, and I'm a teacher over at Sullivan. There's a common saying in our union, which is a teacher's working conditions are the student's learning conditions. So I just wanted to say that is when we are proposing a shorter workday in line with the surrounding communities, we do so because we see our elementary school students struggling to stay regulated during that high school length day. When we ask for protected prep times, it's out of our deep desire to be prepared to teach the strongest lessons possible to our students, to go that extra mile, to plan those field trips, to take the time to communicate with families and build those relationships. When we ask for compensation that respects our experience and education, it's because we believe our students deserve to have teachers who are experienced and educated. In short, our students deserve the absolute best. Our students need the absolute best. And so, these questions kind of pass through my mind, which is, why not incentivize great teachers to work and stay in Holyoke? Why not? And if the answer is we can't afford to, I would say to, the suits in Boston, we can't afford not to. Our students have been left behind for too long. And so I think we as a body in this room need to ask ourselves, why did we come into the position we're in now? Right? Why did you run for the school committee? Why did I decide to be a teacher here in Holyoke? Was it to listen to someone in a city 100 miles away? Or was it to give the people of Holyoke a better opportunity? And so I think it's time that we, ask ourselves these questions and reckon with that truth that without a fair and equitable and reasonable contract, our greatest teachers are going to be the ones walking out the door. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, and I'm gonna do my best, Loie Hassler. Name and address, please.
Yeah, you got it. I'm Loie, and I am at 50 Phillips Place, Northampton. Okay. The families who have been a part of my classroom over the past 4 years are compassionate, they're dedicated, they're hilarious. They're not perfect, but obviously neither am I. And together we imperfectly try to be the best team possible, but that takes trust. We build trust with families, of course, by sharing ourselves with them, going to birthday parties, basketball games, and home visits. Those are things I've done to build these bridges. When you have a sibling or neighbor of a previous student, then at least families walk into your classroom with a few pieces of that bridge already built. But that means sticking around for a long while in a district notorious in the area for treating its teachers poorly. A level of thought and time goes into building that trust that rarely happens in those golden minutes of prep time a week. In those rare minutes, I'm scrubbing juice spills out of my tables. I'm counting out 10 chips into 13 cups for shake and spill. I'm trying to figure out which backpack the smell is coming from. So if we want to build an authentic relationship, it normally happens outside of our prep hours and therefore outside of our contract hours. So let's say I expect parents to trust me when I say we are doing everything possible for their child. What truly convinces that parent? Time does. Time in the district, time in the school. Transparency does, repeated results do, and I don't mean star data, I mean repeatedly showing up for their child on their good days and bad, communicating when they're struggling and when they're succeeding, responding when they need you to, and responding positively when it's hard. Our first graders are losing their special education teacher to Westfield at the end of the week. I'm worried because one of my students relies so much on dependable structure, and she does daily C-grid for him. If he has a hard time with this transition, I'll be the one having these difficult discussions with his mom. And I'll be the one doing my best to frame it with a growth mindset that he just needs to get over this hump and get used to this new normal. And during this entire conversation, all I'll have in the back of my mind is that this qualified teacher could still be with the students that love her, but I don't blame her one bit for choosing a district with 15 sick days, daily protected prep time, and shorter school days.
Next, thank you. Next, John Roach.
John Roach, 2 Laurel Drive, East Hampton, Mass. Good evening, members of the Holyoke School Committee, Mayor Garcia, Interim Superintendent Soto, and the citizens of Holyoke here are watching. My name is John Roach. I am the History Department Chair at Holyoke High School. I am the co-chair of the HTA bargaining team. Last Thursday, during bargaining, the HTA presented an immediate counterproposal to your workday and work year. We did this for 2 reasons. First, our members are demanding action now. Second, it demonstrates that the HTA has been and remains willing to compromise. We are asking the Holyoke School Committee to meet us in the middle. The HTA agrees with the Holyoke School Committee on the creation of a joint oversight committee and an instructional leadership team at each school. However, we firmly believe that final review, approval, and any decisions in case of discrepancy must rest with the Holyoke School Committee, not with the superintendent. Receivership is over. You are the elected body, and final authority belongs with you. In the spirit of compromise, we made several concessions. You proposed 186-day work year. The HTA countered with 185, up from 183. We agreed to 18 additional hours of required duties. We built in professional development into the school calendar, and we support an induction program for first-year teachers. We stand firm on the length of the school day and the lack of guaranteed daily preparation time. DESE recognizes that an elementary day is not the same as a middle or high school day, and our proposal reflects that. Holyoke teachers insist on equitable, protected prep time each day to support students effectively. This immediate counterproposal was made in the interest of teacher retention, student success, and reaching a fair agreement. We, the HTA, are ready to reach a fair and lasting agreement this Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. I can't really read this. Saskia Fabricant? Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. So my name is Saskia Fabricant, 8 Lord Street in East Hampton. I am the English Language Development Department Chair at Holyoke High School North. For the past 7 years, I have been working for HPS. Prior to coming here, I thought long and hard about what I was going to say to you this evening because I don't understand your reluctance to settle the contract with HTA, and so I don't know what I can say to convince you of the importance of this matter. But I do know that first and foremost, you care about the youth of Holyoke. We would not be here in this room if you didn't. So let me be clear that the proposals that the HTA has put forth not only support teachers, but most importantly, they give the students of Holyoke what they deserve. HPS talks a lot about belonging and making sure that students feel like they belong. They do that when they see the same teachers year to year, not when they are, as is the case for some students in the 9th grade right now at Holyoke High, on their 5th English teacher of the year. We ask teachers to hold high expectations for students. They can do that when they are the experts in their fields, and we get that when they are fairly compensated for their master's degrees and continuing education to remain leaders in their fields. We want students to receive fun and engaging lessons. They can only get that if their teachers are not forced to work a 2nd or 3rd job to make ends meet. Holyoke families receive emails from the district about health and wellness, yet we compromise students' health by giving them teachers who do not receive the time off to take sick days when they are ill. You have a tremendous opportunity right now to lead this district and city. Therefore, tonight, on behalf of the 100 students I teach and the 900 students I see in the hallways between classes every day, I am asking you to settle this contract with the HTA. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Micah Seaman. And I'm sorry if I mispronounced that.
Hi. Hi, my name is Micah Simone, 11 Allen Place, Northampton, Mass. My name is Micah, but my students call me Mr. Simone or Mr. Shaffrin or Mr. That is when they're not telling me I look like an internet meme or Simon from Alvin and the Chipmunks. That's the comp I've gotten most commonly for the last 3 years. My favorite part of teaching at Dean is seeing the students I've had for the previous 2 years and having them want to hang their coats in my closet or tell me about their boy or girl drama or how they got an A on the test or how they have a new baby sibling or anything. But not all days are good. Sometimes a class makes me feel like I'm going to have an aneurysm, and sometimes I have to talk to my VP in the hallway while a student support coordinator supervises the classroom. The first question they ask me when I walk back in is this: are you quitting? They don't fully believe me when I say no. Then they tell me about a teacher they had who allegedly looks like me, who quit. And they tell me with 100% sincerity he left because of them. They believe that they were too much or too difficult to deal with. I asked a colleague of mine if that was true after class, if that teacher really quit because of the students, and she said, no, he left to go to Chicopee for more money, shorter days, less PD, and more control over what he teaches. But the kids don't see that. They blame themselves. Our students bear the brunt of the teacher retention crisis in Holyoke, and it won't get better unless you are willing to compromise on things like salary structure, PD, paid leaves, and prep time, because these are the reasons teachers leave the district, not the students. Losing a supportive adult is a traumatic event in the life of a child, and it happens to almost all of our students every year. Please settle our contract with a spirit of generosity, understanding that we are asking for what we think it will take to keep teachers here. Yes, that means less PD. Yes, that means paying based on education, paid family leave. I believe you all will do the right thing. Please prove me correct.
Thank you. And just for anybody listening, public comment, we can only talk about what's on the agenda, and we cannot respond to public comment. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Next, we have communication and reports, student reports. Do we have our students here or on Zoom?
No.
Right, moving on, superintendent's report. Mr. Soto.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to call our director of multilingual learners, Jen Albury, up. She wanted to provide an update on our multilingual learners and things going on in the ELL department.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for the gift. It's a pleasure to be back with you tonight. If I wasn't able to meet you last year, my name is Jenna Albury. I am the Multilingual Education Director, so I oversee the ESL department. And I have some slides to share with you. My purpose tonight is to talk a little bit about data, but also just highlight and give you an update about the awesome work our ESL team and teachers have been doing since I saw you last. So, last time I was here, I spoke to you about our shifting demographics. We had over 200 newcomer students join our district last year, which brought us from having around 11 languages in total to having a plethora of language speakers within each language, meaning we grew in Haitian Creole speakers, we grew in Arabic, we grew in Portuguese. And last year, when they arrived, they didn't only arrive with needs. They arrived with languages, histories, resilience, and strengths that continue to enrich our schools and our community every single day. And I really want to recognize the collective effort that made this possible. Our content and ESL teachers, our counselors, our paraprofessionals, the front office staff, bus drivers, and our school leaders. Everyone has showed up beyond their job descriptions to ensure that our students felt welcomed, safe, and that they truly belonged here in Holyoke. This year we opened new pathways at the high school, specifically at Holyoke High School North. We launched the SLIFE classrooms in ELA, history, and math. Please. Yes, yes. SLIFE acronym is Students with Limited or Interrupted Formal Education. And so these classes really provide grade level content through language-based instruction, scaffolded pacing, and project-based learning. And unlike neighboring districts, Holyoke did not previously have newcomer programs or SLIFE classrooms. Springfield has schools dedicated to these programs. And so I come to you reporting the success of opening multiple classrooms, both at the high school north and continuing our great acceleration of our newcomer students in our middle school programs. At middle school, in both Peck and Sullivan, we have two very full classrooms. Oh, still the same one. I'm just going to talk about it. So in our English newcomer program at Sullivan, we provide targeted English literacy while students remain in their Spanish inclusion classrooms. And this really allows us to have classrooms of English support while our students are still with their peers and still expanding grade level content through Spanish. This is a core district goal to build towards biliteracy and honor first language. At Peck, we have an international academy While this is a smaller classroom, it honors 10 different 10 different languages within one setting. We serve, this year, 100% of our kids have already transitioned into math general education settings from only being here from less than a year. They are excelling, and I'm so happy for them, and it's part of my job to wish them well. So that shows the success of these programs, and it takes a lot of courage for our students who are new in a community to take risks, to persist, and to grow. And I'm deeply grateful to Peck and Sullivan teams, as well as the teachers at North, especially our ESL coaches, for their creativity and commitment. But each year we start with a blank canvas and designing classrooms around the students who are coming to us, because each year it's different. While we're receiving this year fewer EL students who are true newcomers, meaning that they're in their first year on the mainland, we have welcomed many second-year students transitioning from districts like Springfield or Boston that had these programs. Their transition into Holyoke is smoother because these programs exist. But instruction alone is not enough. Being new or not yet speaking a language takes a lot of courage, like I said. That's why I want to highlight our growing partnership with the Holyoke YMCA. We were awarded last year the Peabody Grant, and we have made memberships free for all ESL families and students to partake in different enrichments at the Holyoke Y, including volleyball. We are doing futsal that happens every Friday. It's very competitive. And we could use a little bit. And we are also beginning swimming, as well as our ESL class for adults. We have over 70 folks who have come across the 2 years, and while attendance varies every week, we have 2 teachers who come twice a week and spend over 3 hours with our families, learning English, working on job applications, supporting them. And I want to shout out Carolyn and Dr. Angela Stewart, who lead these classes and have for over a year. HCC has these classes, and there's over a year waiting list. Having these opportunities for our family has helped our students know that even mom and dad are taken care of in Holyoke. All right. Now I'll go. So we see the impact of our work not just in our stories, but in our outcomes. Our students' growth reflects several key shifts. First of all, more SEI endorsement educators in our district. Holyoke's one of the only public schools in Massachusetts that has free SEI endorsement for all teachers, for those who are required to hold it and those who want to learn how to better serve their multilingual learners. Yes, sir.
What's that endorsement?
Excuse me, point of order. You have to be recognized before you can speak.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Michelson, go ahead.
My question is, what's the SCI endorsement?
SEI is Sheltered English Immersion. So if you teach in English as a content teacher, this is a required endorsement of all educators in the state of Massachusetts. If you teach in Spanish, you have the biliteracy endorsement. So it's a little bit different depending on what you teach, but it goes over how to support multilingual learners. With the exception of one opening that we are hoping to fill next week, we are 100% staffed at our ESL department. Intentional curriculum changes. Clear focus on inclusion and literacy is what we have focused on to ensure that this data that you're seeing on the board right here is continuing. It's important to note that over 200 students, about 20% of our EL population, entered as a level 1 English learner last year. Maintaining nearly the same district average proficiency after a year or less of English learning is significant, and it reflects the strong instruction and clear inclusive structures in Tier 1 classes and the excellent ESL teachers we have in our district. 3 years ago, we exited 41 students. Last year, we exited 61. So there is growth within our long-term L community, but there also is a maintaining of an average despite a fifth of our population starting. On the next slide, I do just want to note, because Desi has lots of language for ESL, growth shows that they improved their score. Meeting benchmark is the expectations for students to grow each year. Because if we go to a new language next year, if we go to a new country tomorrow, We're not going to know the language in a month. We need time, right? And that's what we expect for our students too. So the benchmarks set goals within 6 years, each year how much we should be progressing. Meeting attainment means that we exit the ESL program, so a 4.2 composite score and a literacy score of 3.9. Without the literacy score, you cannot exit the ESL program. So if we look at how we're doing across the grade bands, thank you. I know it's a little hard to see, but I'll read the best I can. Elementary school grew every single ESL student at 97% last year. That's maybe 2 or 3 students who stayed at the same level. Each year, the test gets harder, right? The language demand is bigger. So the fact that 97% of our students increased is we're doing the right work. 60% met their progress targets, and 10% exited. In the middle school, growth more than doubled, rising to 74% from 36% the previous year. And at our high school, the growth of 76% rose from 49%, which shows the incredible work not only of inclusion teachers, but of our students really working hard to learn content and language together. Many secondary students have been Ls for more than 6 years. This is what we call as a term long-term Ls. It should be noted that a big part of why kiddos get stuck in the ESL program is the literacy piece. Literacy is deeply entwined with language, and it's a civil right. This year we piloted reading intervention, again, with Carolyn, who has led our newcomers and our life students at the high school. But moving forward, I'm highly recommending that literacy intervention be embedded into the EL rotations for all high school students, especially for long-term Ls, so that we can see the same level of success that we see in our K-8 scores. We have moved our learners in K-2, 3-5, and 6-8 because of these language and literacy interventions. They have moved benchmark percentages on STAR, on DNA, and on access. Very quickly, I'll go over our district wins. As a district, we increased by 23%. Next slide.
Ms. Lowell?
I just had a question. What percentage of your L students have a learning disability? Do you know?
I believe it's close to the 50%. We are the highest in the state for dually identified students who are multilingual learners. I have looked a lot at language of testing. I've worked with the bilingual psychologists, especially when we have newcomers who speak at home one language, but were schooled in another, right? And so a lot of our pathways of learning, if you've gone through multiple countries that speak different languages, it takes a very, very important conversation with families, and it takes time to commit to families, and I think we're doing a better job at that, and there's always room for improvement for collaboration across special education and ESL.
Can I ask a follow-up? Is there a reading immersion for those older grades, or 4 to 12 now, that exists for students who
For the reading intervention?
Yeah.
So we have strong program K-8, and my recommendation in collaboration with the high school is to increase that for not just newcomers, but for any long-term L 9 to 12.
Thank you.
Our school level wins, I recognize that it's a little bit far away. However, you can see the green.
Hold on.
Thank you.
Mr. Sheehan?
Yes, sir.
Can you just go back to the other slide a second? The previous one. Oh, no.
One more.
No, with the blue band on the left-hand side. That one. So when looking at attainment, are you using that also as a term that those are students exiting?
Yes.
Okay. And then, so I know you're talking about growth, and that, I mean, Access looks at growth, but it also looks at students exiting ELL. So where on the scale are those students making growth actually going to be on a pathway to exit
That's
EL
a great
services?
question. what I focus on and what I think all L teachers focus on the most is not necessarily attainment as much as benchmarks. What you do is you have a specific level when you enter the ESL program, and the state has a formula divided by the 6 years of what they feel is attainable in language learning to become proficient in English. And that's the progressive amount that you should be seeing each year as growth. Depending on our community, we will see a shift in how many students are exiting. I mentioned that if we go tomorrow to Japan, I'm not going to become proficient as a bilingual Japanese speaker for some time, which is okay because that is language development. What's different though, what you want to see is the progress targets. You want to make sure that, okay, if I entered as level 1, I'm growing the sufficient amount each year. So my eyes always celebrating growth with students because we want to keep motivation and we recognize that the test is hard. But we also want to make sure that we are meeting our progress targets so that students are on the correct track to exiting in the appropriate time based off of when they started. Yep.
Mr. Shin?
So then when looking at the long-term L's,
yes,
are a lot of the long-term L's also students with special needs?
They are students with disabilities, and they are students who have been L's for more than 6 years who may not have had the same reading intervention opportunities because of how we used to do scheduling. We needed to do a lot of shifts to ensure that our dually identified students both get access to Tier 2 interventions and their IEP and their ESL, which takes a lot of collaboration. I think in the past 4 years, there's been a lot of sweat and tears that have gone into those conversations, but I will say that I do think, and I have special education dually identified data that I'd like to share with you for any follow-up questions, but I do think there has been a shift in how we have done scheduling for dually identified students.
But also, so of the students that are students with disabilities, how are we ensuring that the appropriate accommodations are being made in the IEP to make sure that the test is accessible for them?
Based off of the new IEP, I have seen that the access accommodation page is not always filled out the way that it should be. However, that is a statewide trend. So Massachusetts guidance was that anything on an MCAS accommodation can be applied to access. We hold yearly training for our ETLs, for the folks who write the IEPs, and to ensure that we have this work building towards higher proficiency. And in addition, our BELs, who are our building EL leads, review IEPs of our Ls before access testing to write any amendments that we notice for any purpose that the students' needs are not being accommodated correctly before access. We make sure that amendments happen. One thing that is a goal to increase in our department, which I would think that all folks, both special education and ESL teachers, agree on, is making sure that ESL teachers are present at IEP meetings so that we can speak on what language difference and learning differences are and give our Ls the proper opportunity and time to show what they know independent of language acquisition.
So is it automatic that for your accommodation for the MCAS, is what you stated that if you got an accommodation for the MCAS that it's automatic that you get it for access testing? And that's widely known by
so
all the educators?
For example, if you, on my team, yes, on the ESL
right,
team.
but I mean, by all, I mean, anyone who's working with a student with a disability would need to be aware of
Correct.
the IEP. So, I mean, is it widely known that if the student has an accommodation on MCAS, that is an automatic accommodation
Yes.
on access?
Yes, on academic team, we have put out multiple forms of guidance around including interim assessments, and we've actually gone through each type of assessment that we give, and we have highlighted what would be appropriate within the special education and ESL students, reminding folks to go back and look at where they'll find the accommodation, how it's given, and what resources that will be needed.
Ms. Tensley Williams?
Young lady, do you have a large percentage of students of color having problems with learning disabilities? Do you have them in the ESL also? or is it language, as far as Spanish or?
Well, what happens in ESL is that it's actually all from the enrollment process. We have home language survey that our families fill out, and they identify if they speak another language, and then we do our screener. If they do not pass the screener, they are invited into the ESL program. And so we have a large amount of students who were born in Holyoke. We have some students who do not identify as a bilingual speaker, but a heritage speaker. And we have students of all demographics within our program. I think the highest rate is actually just duly identified students within our EL population.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Lubold?
Can you tell me what it looks like for parent outreach? Because you mentioned that there's many newcomer parents who don't speak the language. And so how, especially in light of the IEP form is very bureaucratic, how are we getting their participation so that they can share in real time what they see at home to help the kids?
It's a great question. One of our biggest assets on our multilingual education team, which just moved to our family engagement team, her name is Merlot Toussaint. And I think I mentioned last time I was here, she was a Holyoke mom and of a ESL student who speaks Haitian Creole. And she has helped us in enrollment, highly helped us in enrollment to make sure students families are understanding the processes, the expectations, attendance, health, all of the access pieces that they have as they're entering a new community. And now that we are really seeing our community shift from first year to second year, we're seeing more referrals within the CST process. So this is a learning opportunity for us as well to redefine our systems. For the most part, we have strong systems within bilingual psychologists who work with our families, and Ms. Toussaint helps as an interpreter and as a family advocate to remind folks about appointments. She does not serve on the psych team or any of the evaluations, but she walks with our families in this. And she also helps us understand, for the majority of our speakers who speak Haitian Creole, she helps us understand culture. And she helps us when we have questions. She's a tutor for us in that process, but this is definitely something that's new for us as we go into multiple languages in the CST process.
Just two quick follow-ups. So
of course,
what for parents when they're going into the IEP meeting, is there an interpreter that's always there for them?
Absolutely.
Automatically for them?
It would be based off of their enrollment if they have identified as needing interpretation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it has to be a tiered interpreter. It would not be the family liaison.
And then who explains an IEP rights? Is that something that you do with the special education department, people services? Like how does that work?
I believe that's the ETL.
Okay.
Who leads the IEP meeting, and then the team decisions. The team has made the recommendations beforehand, which the ETL has reviewed prior to the meeting, and then they're discussed with the family.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
We'll hold the rest of the questions for the end of the presentation because I know you have more slides.
I do.
Go ahead.
Thank you. All right, where am I here? Okay, so we'll look a little bit at the school wins, and I apologize. I did redo that slide. I'm sorry that I didn't get it to you, but I want to talk a little bit. Donahue grew. As a district, we grew 23%, but the progress is happening. So to Mr. Sheehan's question, which is it is solid because it's like, how do we celebrate growth? How do we celebrate benchmarks? And how do we celebrate attainment if all of those are different kind of criterias? So we can celebrate Donahue having increased 19% in their progress targets. Ian White went up 31%. Dean last year only had one ESL teacher, but exited 11 students from the ESL program. McMahon and Morgan both had 100% growth last year, and Sullivan increased by 38% growth. These outcomes reflect consistent staffing in our EL department, intentional use of EL success plans, which are goals for each student that our L teachers are monitoring on the day-to-day basis, and focused feedback of language. On the next slide, I do want want to talk a little bit about what the data is telling us when we analyze from who our beginners are versus who our long-term Ls are. And this is really important because if you look at our newcomer Ls, 92% of them grew with less than a year. 92% met the state's expectation for having grown last year, and some of them were not here for a full year. So that speaks to the very big importance of those newcomer programs and the SLIFE programs that are helping students feel confident and access English. The 3 to 5 and 68 years in ESL is really where you want to see that attainment that Mr. Sheehan was speaking at. 20% of our 3 to 5, that's pretty much our elementary schools, 20% exit it. And that surpasses our neighboring districts. That's what we want to see. If research tells us that it does take 5 to 10 years to learn a language, but we want our students exiting the ESL program after being supported for 5 years. So that's our goal. And on the next slide, what I've highlighted is where our focus point is. And it's really around secondary. And when I do an analysis, it's really around literacy. Literacy is heavier weighted in access, meaning that reading and writing actually counts for more. And even if you make the composite across all 4 domains, you can't exit unless you meet the literacy expectation. So with that being said, I wanted to just restate how important it is to reinvest and ensure that our secondary, our older learners are having the same amount of support within literacy as our K-2 learners. Last, 2 more data points and then I will leave you. I am celebrating the growth of our dual language program. We've done a lot of work with families behind the scenes, calling any heritage speaker, multilingual speaker, anyone who's listed on their home language survey that they speak Spanish. We've called and offered them to move from SEI, which is English-based classrooms, into dual language. We moved over 40 students in the past 2 years. And what we're seeing is that even when we have an 80-20 model, meaning 80% of the day is in Spanish and 20% is in English, we can see that our students are moving at a higher rate than our Ls who only take class in English all day. This is alignment with research, and it's also the most equitable approach to serving our multilingual community. I want to shout out Laura Espinosa-Muffson, the Associate Director of Dual Language, because it takes a lot of work to go through every single profile of every single student, but that's the kind of quality that we expect of our teachers and of our district staff to make sure that we're connecting with family and making sure they're in the right placement. Finally, to go back to the question around special education on the next slide. We're beginning to close the gap within our dually identified students. If you look at our previous year in 2024, we have grown our dually identified students grew 30% last year, and we want to continue making the same amount of students making progress target growth as well. Mr. Sheehan's question about long-term L, if you have been in L for more than 6 years, your goal is to exit. So having a lower progress target percentage is understandable if you're not exiting the program. However, we have a real need here to ensure the collaboration and cooperation of both the special education and ESL departments and make sure that all students' needs are being met. So this winter, we are expanding our professional learning focused on multilingual students with significant disabilities. We're ensuring equity across all settings. Today, I met with my instructional team, and we're talking about how we're ensuring that all students, independent of the program, independent of the student's need, are receiving consistent language development. So our goal is simple. Wherever the student starts, they will grow, and they will grow at the rate that we have been expected by the state, but also what is fair to them. And so I just want to give that shout out to our EL teachers, the academic leadership team, to Rebecca Thompson for fostering collaboration across departments and holding high expectations for our multilingual learners, because it is showing that our Ls are moving and that they can be exiting and that they can make the growth that they deserve to make. And so I have a little good luck wish because it is access season. Yes, they did start testing last week, some schools last week, some schools this week, depending on the other testing that's going on. January is a busy month. So a warm well wish to all of our teachers, the para-educators, every student who is taking, we want them to do their best and show all that they know because they deserve these kind of celebrations for doing so much work.
Thank you so much. Ms. Lupel.
Thank you. Sorry, I just have a couple questions. Are you experiencing any kind of teacher turnover in your department or also with your support for IEP students in the classroom?
We have, like I mentioned, we're better staffed this year than we ever have been. We've expanded into para-educators positions in our department, which we've never had before. And I think that these two, we haven't seen teachers leave our department per se this school year. In the past, we've struggled a lot with teachers being pulled for coverage, for other needs across the building. And I will say that's getting better. And I was working with the team today just about redefining roles to ensure that students are respected to get their special education services, their L services, and their tier 1 education as the person who should be giving said service, right? Because if L teachers are teaching general education, then our L students are not necessarily receiving the explicit language instruction, and I think we've really improved in that in the past couple of years.
And lastly, I was reading, I forget if it was over the weekend at some point, that their enrollment in the language programs were dropping, just statewide.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned that 200 we have now. Do you anticipate that is going to decrease, or will it continue to increase due to students moving from those other areas to ours, either with Department of Transition or other departments?
Yeah. Newcomers specifically, or L in general?
I guess, well, either one. I'm not, yeah.
We had many pathways in Massachusetts for welcoming refugee and newcomer families last year. Since then, a lot has changed around the hotel situation, housing. So we're seeing a lot of students leave to go to Springfield, but we're also receiving a lot of students at the same time who are finding housing here in Holyoke. So while we don't get a lot of first-year students now, we have seen a significant amount of second-year students who are joining us. And just last week, for example, we actually welcomed 10 newcomers. So holidays, right? A little bit of good transitional time, but compared to last year when I came to speak with you, we do not see the same level of percentages, which is disappointing because they are really awesome kids.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for the time. It was nice to see everybody.
Thank you for coming and joining us.
I look forward to bringing some of our kiddos next time. I couldn't steal McMahon's thunder tonight, but
we will welcome them
I won't bring
for sure.
Frisbees, though.
Thank you. Next up on our agenda, new business, out-of-state field trips. May I have a motion that the school committee vote to accept the out-of-state field trip to High Meadows, North Granby, Connecticut on May 28, 2026?
Yes, I make that motion.
Motion made by Ms. Stensley Williams, second.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Wilson. Discussion.
Oh, sorry.
Ms. Lubbold.
Sorry for my questions, but hold on, let me just get it. So I just was curious because I read that it was $650, and I just was wondering if Mr. Or no, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused about other schools being able to have field trips. So is that like is it a common practice that they come before us to? I just wasn't familiar with the process. So
Yes.
okay. So other students they can all fundraise or have that same opportunity.
Any out-of-state field trips
Okay.
will come to
Or
us.
overnight.
Yeah. Or overnight. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Next, out-of-state travel. May I have a motion that the school committee vote to approve and authorize out-of-state travel for Matt Lacase? physical education to attend Shape America National Convention and Expo in Kansas City, Missouri from March 17 to the 21st of 2026. Motion made by Mr. Isasa. A
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Wilson. Discussion. Ms. Lubbold.
So I think this is awesome, and certainly the display that Matt shared with his students was so terrific and very meaningful. And I really wanted to go back to gym class. But aside from that, I just noticed in the ask was for $650, and this is to, I think, Kansas City. And so I'm just wondering, that doesn't include hotel or airfare, or what is the expectation on the teacher?
Mr. Soto.
Yeah, if there was a need to fund that, I don't know the particular situation. I don't know if this particular individual has family in the area and is staying with family. But if there was a need, it would all be included in here. I did follow up and ask the principal if this was, a mistake and should there be hotel expenses, and the response that I got back was like, nope, it's only registration. Everything else is all set.
Thank you.
Ms. Wilson.
So just like when we go to conferences or trainings, I noticed, while looking at this, there's no expectation to share knowledge upon their return. And I believe that that should be changed. I know many of our educators, share that knowledge in an informal way or sometimes formally. But if we're paying for such trainings, they should be sharing that, some sort of expectation with other, in this case, PE teachers during one of the PD days. That made sense. Okay.
Ms. Lubbold?
Just to build on that, is there a mechanism for that to happen either by school or just in a general standard of practice where when you go to a conference, you come back and, do a teach-in?
Mr. Soto?
It usually happens at the school level. In recent history, we haven't, demanded that a formal report be shared with the school committee or anything like that. But if it is the will of the body, we could definitely, implement a system where we're tracking that information and filing it with all of our out-of-state travel, so that if any school committee members want to take a look, they could.
I think the intent is for the knowledge to be distributed to the people who need it, right? Like in this case, it would be with the other PE teachers, if I understood correctly.
Yeah, so just a clarification. So, Matt did his display here with the kids, and they talked about his learning in a gym class and, 5 areas of breathing and how to reduce conflict and all of those things that I, would go great, where I work, just, things like that, like where you can share that learning. And if you're not getting out in order to have that conversation, then you just don't know about it. So it would be something that perhaps a teacher comes back excited about and wants to share with colleagues, but that there's a mechanism for them to do so, whether, like, as Ms. Wilson said, at a PD.
Thank you. Mr. Sheehan? Okay. Ms. Wilson?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion. I'm not sure which subcommittee this would go to, but I would like to send...
We currently have a motion on the floor and we're on discussion.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? So moved.
Building on that motion, I would like us to look at the travel, what the expectation is for anyone who goes away to a paid training. Okay, the motion is, if the district pays for a training, that we establish a mechanism to have that information shared appropriately.
Did you mean to refer that to a subcommittee?
Yes, I said I'm not sure which subcommittee that would go to.
All right. That's motion made. Do we have a second? Seconded by Ms. Lubbold. Discussion, Ms. Lafave.
Are you looking at the policy, is my question. Because we do have on travel, but are you looking at a policy? Because I know for our travel, we're supposed to come back and bring information back to the school committee. So anybody who attends any conferences or whatever. But I'm trying to look here at our policies. Is that what you're asking for?
Yes, I'm going to ask to refer it to the policy and governance subcommittee.
Any discussion on that motion? Mr. Michelson.
I mean, as much as I really do support the idea that, like, because Mr. Lacasse, like, watching what he did there, right, and watching the way he described the values and all of that, right, it would be my hope that he would be doing that anyway, right, and from what Mr. Soto said, it sounds like there's a department of physical education within the schools, right? I would hope that that's happening anyway. I don't know that there necessarily needs to be a mechanism to do that, and I would hope that that's part of the way that we do business as it stands. So I just think that would make it very difficult for one of those people to go out and have a good deal to, go to a conference. So.
Thank you. Ms. Wilson?
I'm going to quote Mr. Sheehan. Mr. Sheehan, without a policy, it doesn't get done.
I didn't know I said that.
You have.
I say lots of things,
But I remembered that one.
Ms. Louisville?
Yes, I hear what you're saying, and I do think but I think making something a matter of practice per policy. But there's also other ways to get creative about making it voluntary. If something's meaningful, something different, something new that the organization is not doing or referring. I mean, we could put criteria together that would make it a learning activity. I mean, I think getting people interested in new and innovative ideas is critical to a healthy school system. So I think it would be beneficial.
Thank you. Sounds like subcommittee work. Ms. Lefebvre?
So if we are looking at policy GCID-R, under staff travel expenses, in there it already talks about when they return from conferences, there's supposed to be a written report provided to the superintendent, and that's within 30 working days. So, I mean, go back to accountability, right? And so it's in the policy and it's supposed to be done, so I'm going to go back to the superintendent and say, well, was that done, right? And then if we're looking at for us to be following up with that, you can't expect what you don't inspect. Always remember.
Yeah, I
Mr.
mean,
Soto.
Sorry. I gotta say that hasn't been common practice. Like, I have not been receiving reports for everybody that goes to a professional development, but most people that go to professional development do go with the intent of not only learning for themselves, but also sharing their learning with their peers. So if we send the family engagement coordinator to a conference, they come back and share that learning with all of the family engagement coordinators. When we get to that, like finalizing that policy, those are some discussions that we should be having about whether or not that, whether or not changes need to be made to that policy, or is that what the school committee wants moving forward with that policy. But I can say that just hasn't been practiced right now.
In the interest of open meeting law, this is not a topic on the agenda. It was a motion put on the floor today. Therefore, we are going to refer it to subcommittee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? So moved.
Make a motion to approve the travel and authorize out-of-state travel for Boralis Ramos, school counselor, and Jenny Rivera, school adjustment counselor, to attend the Mass School Counselors Association March 15th through the 17th.
Second that.
Mr. Sasa on the second. Discussion. Ms. Ubel?
Just a question. So, and this is a question to the board, I guess. When we get pre-reads, there's a lot of acronyms. There's not a lot of executive summary. So, a lot of my questions, could have been answered, I guess, what I'm saying already, if we had that sort of fidelity in the expectation of the information that's coming for us. So I don't know what the mechanism is for that. I plead complete ignorance, but I think having some of that information, like what the fair share is, or, like I spent a lot of time Googling, and I can't say with certain veracity that I Googled the right information because I'm not an expert in the field. So I think that if we're to make educated decisions, we really need to have the information. And I don't know what the mechanism is to do that, but I just wanted to share that comment.
Thank you so much. Any questions about the agenda, you can send to Ms. Feliciano, copy me, and Mr. Soto, so that way we can help with that ahead of time. Ms. Lefebvre. So, are you sure? All right. Mr. Michelson, go ahead.
Is there a reason that only the Donahue counselors were going to this one? I just was curious. Is there an outreach program that they find out about these conferences and they decide, hey, we all want to get together and go to this thing? Or
Mr. Soto.
Yeah, they work. So Giselle, who in central office, who oversees professional learning for counselors and professional development. She either has some funding in a grant budget that she has, or sometimes principals, who have a more intimate relationship with the staff members, and those staff members have expressed like, I really like this opportunity. I see this opportunity as something that could help me in my practice. It could happen either way. So Giselle builds in some budget at the district level for counselors to partake in, and then each schools have discretionary funding as well that they can build into their spending plan. So when we go through the budget development process, it's fairly decentralized in that each department head has a budget that they go through, they make a proposal on that, but principals also have, in addition to the staff allocation that they get based on student demographic and enrollment, they have discretionary funds, and they take a look at what their needs are at their building level, and they build out their spending plans every single year. That's how that works.
Thank you. Mr. Sheehan.
I just want to note that the PD that we approve for educators or the travel or for any staff is only that's overnight or out of state. Unless it's less than $200, then it's neither. So just like there's other, if someone's going to this training in Birmingham going for a day, we're not getting that because it's in state and not overnight. So there could be other people attending for various reasons, or lots of other PD that they're going on.
Thank you. Ms. Lubel.
Just a quick question on, I just was trying to get a clarification on what HCC for green jobs, or who is that for? Like, what is that? Okay, we're not
I'm
there
sorry.
yet. Thank you. Well, save that for later.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Next, we have budget transfer and reports. May I have a motion that the school committee accept gifts and grants received and summarized in the above report?
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Wilson, seconded by Mr. Isasa. Discussion. Mr. Sheehan.
Just want to note for the record, there is a budgetary item for fair share earmark, and I'm going to be abstaining from this vote. In my job, I play an active role in building the legislation and the Massachusetts state budget, so I'm going to refrain from anything that may earmark specific amounts to the city or to the school committee.
Thank you. Ms. Wilson?
Can you please explain to me what each of these areas are that are gaining support?
Mr. Soto?
I'm sorry. So the fair share earmark, I definitely want to thank Senator Vilas for his support with this. We were able to get $120,000 from the state, and that's going to be used. It's going to be allocated so that we can upgrade the Holyoke High School North Auditorium. with a new integrated audio system. The audio system's very old, and there's just better quality things out there that'll make that auditorium much better used. So that's what that grant is going to be used for. The Mass Grad Grant has a goal of reducing the number of students dropping out of school and increasing high school graduation rates. And that's a state grant that we get that helps fund a lot of our credit recovery programming. So it's mainly stipends for teachers to run credit recovery. And then the HCC grant, it's a partnership with HCC where they're implementing green jobs training through a state grant from the Mass Executive Office of Education. And the purpose of the program is to provide green jobs and clean energy training to unemployed or underemployed job seekers, and upskilling training for electrical and construction workers and supervisors. So it's $30,000, and the majority of that funding is just going to go towards supplies. They're actually using space at Dean to support this program. So we'll be purchasing the materials that they need through this grant, and the materials actually remain our property once, if the program eventually dissolves in the future, that property is still our property.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Ms. Lubel?
I wasn't sure I understood. So it's not for our students, it's for, I'm just confused about.
I mean, it's not specifically for our students. It's open to anyone that is, either, it wouldn't prevent students from being able to partake in that. But I think we have very few students that are actually participating in it right now.
Is there any plan to advertise that to them or as opportunity?
It's geared towards unemployed and underemployed job seekers. So I could understand why there's not a lot of students enrolled in there, but I can definitely, I can connect with the person overseeing this program who's at Dean right now. And get back to you with some more information about if you want more specific information on enrollment.
I was just curious how it might relate back to the students or maybe internships or something. I don't know, just creative with an asset that we have that might be utilized. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? All right. Motion passes. Next up, may I have a motion that the school committee refer the budget transfer to the Finance and Operations Subcommittee?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Sheehan, seconded by Ms. Tensley Williams. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Next, we have our warrant approval report. May I have a motion that the school committee vote to accept the report of warrants approved as listed above?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Lefebvre. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Sheehan. Discussion? Seeing, Ms. Lubel.
So I was looking at these and obviously I'm new, so I'm pulling the newbie card here. But does this mean we're 2 months behind on paying bills? Like, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying, like, is that the schedule? Like, how does that work? I just.
Mr. Soto.
It doesn't mean we're behind. These are just warrants that have already been processed and they've been approved by the Finance and Operations Chair. So if you notice on each of these warrants, Jay Wellahan has signed off on them. Mm-hmm. But we have a policy here that allows the chair of the Finance and Operations Subcommittee to sign the warrant so that we can pay our bills. But at the next school committee meeting, after those warrants are signed, they come here to just share the report, to let the school committee know which warrants were signed off on.
Okay, so the facilitation happens, that's just the dating that. Yeah, okay, I just wanted to clarify that for myself. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sheehan.
any school committee member also has the right to go down to central office and look at every warrant as well. So you have that ability, and they'll make them available if you reach out to the superintendent's office. You can go in and see them.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Order filed by School Committee Member Lubold. Motion that the school committee refer this to the Leadership, Accountability, and Measurement Subcommittee.
So moved. Give it to Ms. Tensley Williams.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Tensley Williams, seconded by Ms. Lefebvre. Discussion. Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Order filed by by School Committee Member Lubold. This is the one about AI. That the school committee referred this to the Leadership, Accountability, and Measurement Subcommittee. Motion made by Mr. Isasa. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Second
I didn't
by-
want to take it away from Ms. Tensley Williams.
Wait, so who's on the second? Ms. Lubold is on the second. All right. Discussion. Ms. Lubold.
I just have put this on there because there's been obviously a lot in the news about AI and its impact on many industry sectors, but particularly for education, both for educators and also students, and the use of that material. And I know that there's state guidelines, and I also know that there's a pilot program going on in the surrounding communities. Some of our surrounding communities are part of that pilot, and so I just want to have a better understanding about what work we're doing. And to talk about that more deeply in committee.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Approval of meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of November 17th school committee meeting and December 8th school committee meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Lefebvre. Discussion? Ms. Lubold. Never mind. Any other discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Updates on committees. We don't have our chairs yet. So.
You can get that motion.
Point of order.
Yes, go ahead.
I just had my hand up and you didn't see it because it
Sorry.
was like down low. So I wanted to abstain from that because I wasn't a member, so I don't feel comfortable, approving minutes that I was not part of the discussion about.
All right. So let's show the record that Ms. Lubold abstains.
Oh, exactly.
Okay. That is true.
That's the updates. You can do it based on updates.
It's a vote. Or they actually.
It's updates, so you can't do.
So I do have some updates on subcommittees. We have the appointments of the subcommittee assignments for this year. Finance Subcommittee. Chair, Mr. Sheehan. Committee members Orlando Isasa and Jens Michelson. Joint City Council School Committee. Chair, Ms. LeBron Martinez. Committee members Ms. Tensley Williams and Ms. Lubold. Policy and Governance Subcommittee. Chair, Ms. Wilson. Committee members Ms. Tensley Williams, Ms. Lefebvre, and Mr. Michelson. Leadership, Accountability, and Measurement Subcommittee. Chair, Ms. Lefebvre. Committee members Ms. Lubold and Mr. Isasa.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? My brain went somewhere else. Thank you.
It is in the rules that I get to appoint the subcommittees.
Can I take back my vote for
Ms. Wilson. For which one? Leadership, accountability, and measurement. Chair, Ms. LaFave. Committee members, Ms. Lewold and Mr. Isasa.
Make a motion to approve the committee assignment that's presented by the chair.
Motion made by Mr. Sheehan, seconded by Mr. Isasa. Discussion.
Disgusting. Go to the vote. Going on record.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion
I
passes
don't.
9-1. 8-1, sorry. So moved. Motion from, this is coming from the Leadership, Accountability, and Measurement Subcommittee, that, that the school committee vote the recommendation of appointment of Mr. Anthony Soto as the permanent chief financial officer effective July 1st, pending contract negotiations. Motion made by Ms. Densley Williams, seconded by Mr. Isasa. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Congratulations, Mr. Soto. And thank you.
Thank you all.
Moving on to ongoing business, superintendent search update. Mr. Sheehan.
I added this to the agenda during my time last week when I got to cover. So, what I wanted to provide for you is a list of the upcoming dates, which I know Ms. Feliciano has already added to everyone's calendar. But more importantly, the goal is to the goal is going to be on the 26th, which is the meeting where the screening committee chair will present the names of the finalists to us, that we also need to approve the questions that the school committee is going to ask. So everyone has here the question compilation and guide. That is simply just a guide. I mean, that is a starting point for people to review, but anything can be asked. The only thing is that anything that's asked is consistent and asked of all the candidates. So that's why we write them all down ahead of time. Questions are developed in open session, so they'll be developed on the 26th. So any questions that you want to propose, so we can be efficient on the 26th, to be to Ms. Feliciano by January 21st. That means they can be compiled, and we can then decide how many questions we want to ask, because it's not, I mean, I could submit 10 questions, but they're not all going to get asked. We have to mutually decide or combine some of them. So if she gets them by the 21st, they'll be on the agenda for the 26th, so we can discuss that. And then we can discuss what questions we want to ask by 4 p.m. And then that will then allow us to hopefully deal with that on the 26th and then go into our finalists interviews the week of February 9th with the site visits in between. So that will just hopefully be an efficient method to do that. And like I said, it is done in open session.
Ms. Densley Williams.
Shouldn't we have a set amount? Like,
No, so we're asking the committee members if there are questions that you want to ask to submit those ahead of time to Ms. Feliciano. And they have to be all the same questions that everyone's asked. So it's not necessarily going to be, you don't need to have specific information necessarily about a person's background, because there is an opportunity if something were to come up that a follow-up question could be asked. But everyone, if you're going to ask about how to improve literacy scores, everyone gets that same question. If you're going to ask about how to manage a budget, everyone gets asked that same question.
Ms. Lewold.
So I'm trying to understand why we have to ask everyone the same question.
I mean, I believe we have a duty in a public interview for a level of equity that every person gets asked the same question. If not, we would have to develop separate interview guides for each candidate in public. And we can do that. I mean, we can certainly do that and do another meeting that week to go over applications. And I mean, this is just what I had presented, since the chair had asked me to get this on the agenda, but we can do that. But I would suggest then that we meet probably earlier on the 26th, just to actually we couldn't because they're going to announce it, so we couldn't even look at materials. But if we can ask, we can. I don't think there's anything that says that we couldn't, but we just have to have that done the 26th.
Right. I mean, the reason I'm asking is people are different. They have different backgrounds. I mean, there are some certain licensures that are cookie cutter in terms of expectation in the job description, but people come from different lived experiences. They come from different places that, another question wouldn't, just like in any regular job interview, wouldn't necessarily be appropriate. But if we're to evaluate a candidate, just asking them the same. I mean, I appreciate the ask about the follow-up, because I think that's certainly good, but I think it would behoove us to think about, will we be getting the names in advance of, to be able to do that on the 26th, to like who
So
we would be interviewing?
we will get the names on the 26th,
Okay.
and we will developing questions then, because the next scheduled meeting,
Okay.
we are interviewing candidates.
Okay.
So, but we can do whatever the committee wants. I simply put this on here so we can be, whatever the expectation is going to be, so we're prepared on the 26th to have the discussion and to work through the process.
I would definitely be in line in us doing our due diligence in terms of who's coming before us for this decision.
And I would also add that it is best practices to find out what are the things that we care about in order to be able to ask all the candidates those things. There is space for nuance of having maybe one or maybe two questions that is specific to a candidate, but we should make sure that the basics are covered on the things that we're looking for from each candidate. Ms. Lefebvre.
Yeah, no, on the interest of time, I'll leave that discussion part to our next meeting. Because technically we're not here to discuss these questions or anything. It's just, this is what's going to be coming up for the next meeting. And then we'll go ahead and discuss about equity across the board from each candidate.
Sounds good. Ms. Wilson.
So, as someone who has almost 20 years' experiences in human resources and has been on several hiring teams within education settings, it's typical that you ask the same questions so that you can compare apples to apples. If we had a questionnaire that was just based upon each individual, it would be hard to compare them together. So I'll be interested in seeing what we want to ask based upon input on the 21st, and then moving forward with discussion about what the questions will be. But just historically, it's typical that the vast majority of questions are asked the same.
Thank you. Mr. Sheehan.
And just for the purpose of people understand, when it comes to site visits, those are less prescriptive questions to the people that you're meeting with, because it could be more about their leadership skills, and those would be different ones. And same thing, like school committee members will also be there will be people spending time with the candidates during the day that they're in the district too. So it's like there are multiple touch points with it, just so people understand that. But I agree with Ms. Lefebvre too, that this development.
Ms. Lubold.
I just wanted to say that I totally understand that there are some questions that you would ask uniformly. When I was listening to the discourse, it seemed to me that there was not a lot of wiggle room to be able to ask, unless there was a follow-up, something else that might be germane to the candidate in front of us. So that was my concern. So I totally understand the uniformity process, but it doesn't, I don't work in the education setting, so I don't know, but typically when I interview people to be on my team and I'm looking at their CV or resume, I'm asking them pointed questions about what I know about them. So I would think that would also be part of the process too.
And we'll have that discussion next Monday.
Okay.
Next meeting. All right. Any announcements? I see none on the agenda. So may I have a motion not open to the public, because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body for purposes of the collective bargaining of all units, and not to come back into open session.
So moved.
Second.
Made by Ms. Wilson, seconded by Mr. Sheehan. Roll call.
Ms. Tenzie Williams? Mr. Izaza?
Yes or no?
Mr. Mickelson?
Yes.
Ms. LeBeau?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Garcia?
Yes.
Dr. Rivera Colon?
Yes.
Mr. Sheehan?
Yes.
Ms. LaFave?
Yes.